everyone, and welcome to my channel. I am going to be doing a 12 by 12 scrapbooking layout, and this is going to be the facing page to the previous Project Life layout I did, and this is the one using the DIY kit, the small kit that I do for Project Life. I am also going to use the same kit for this layout because it will be right here. It's gonna fit in right here. So I know I did a big kit for my 12 by 12 layout, but because it is going to face each other, I thought I'm gonna want them to match. And usually I don't do that because I don't care. I use whatever products that make me happy at that time, but I really love the crepe paper Oasis collection, and so any chance I get to use it again and again, I'm gonna take it. I'm going to be using this photo, and usually for 12 by 12 layouts I use photos of people, family, relatives. So this is different for me. I'm gonna use a full traditional layout for a photo of the beach, but it's very special to me because my hometown beach and lots of memories here, and I just wanted a picture of that, and I really love this shot. I'm gonna tell you what I already have done so far. I chose this paper, and this is from the Palm Springs Michaels 12 by 12 paper pad. And what I did is I cut about less than half an inch here, less than half an inch here, so that I can have just a bit of trim there. And I picked this color specifically because kind of those shades of sand. And then the 6 by 6 papers that I'm gonna use from the paper pad is this swimsuit one, this wood tile one, this striped one, and the wave black and white one. Alright, so let's just get started. I'm going to tape down this white cardstock with my double-sided tape, and it's pretty permanent, and I usually use the dotted adhesive for everything, but for something that I want to stay put and I'm not going to move around, I use that tape. For these papers, I'm going to cut them diagonally so they are in a triangle, and I find that I do this style, this sort of technique with paper pad that I want to use up or that I want to use a lot of the papers of. I make a square with 4 triangles, something like that, and then I move them around, especially if they have patterns, that the patterns make sense. So like those waves, they weren't really making sense, so I'm like, oh, as much as I want to use this wave pattern, I'm gonna have to think of something else. So I decided to get this camper one, and it's got some brown that the other wood tile has, so that can also flow, and the camper just reminds me of just camping out on the beach. I've never done that, but my parents have and my friends have, and I think my sister has, but so it kind of relates to the beach. And then I thought, well, what if I use the other half of the swimwear? And no, because then that wood tile would just kind of look like it's off on its own. So I turned it around, and the patterns go much better that way. And now I am just making sure that I leave a bit of white space in between all the papers, and I'm making sure that white space is equal. Bringing out my photo here and figuring out where do I want to place it, and then from there build. And putting it among those papers, I find that it's a bit busy, it gets a little lost. Even though there's quite a bit of blue, it's a little busy. So I decided to back it up with some white cardstock to make it a frame, and that's really going to help it pop out against all those busy patterns. You know, this is a really good way to also use a paper pad that has a lot of patterns in it, especially to have a border around it. So we have our square. In this case, we have a white border, but you can also use any other single colored cardstock. And then we have a bit of trim over there. So I feel like there's a lot of patterns in this layout, but because they are put in a basic shape, in this case a square, it makes it not chaotic, it doesn't make it crazy, and just too much. Bringing out my watercolors, I want to bring in some blue, some of that blue in the photo, because there's not a lot of blue in the patterns, just that little swimsuit you see there, and maybe a little bit of blue in the campers. I wanted more blue. So I brought a thicker brush to get some really big splatters, and then I brought a thin brush to have some tiny splatters. A little bit of close-up action so you can see that, and I really like how using watercolor, it kind of creates a more saturated rim around the splatters. I really like how that turned out. Putting some foam there on the picture because I want some dimension. I want it to pop up even more from the papers. And going through the ephemera, picking out some pretty obvious phrases like hello sunshine, days filled with sun, fun, and friends. Went through some cards. I want to add some journaling here, and I picked out that card because the colors just go so well. That light blue and the yellow is actually a really good match for the yellow in the Oasis collection. I really wanted to use that ephemera piece that says the ray, but it's just now that I look at it, I really like that I didn't go with it because my eye just goes to it. I don't know if it's because there's just so much pink in one piece. I don't know. But anyway, so okay, I am actually going to get to use that wave pattern, and I'm going to put it on the bottom here and make it my shelf, so to say. I do use this technique quite a lot with my layout, and I actually really like it. It's just something, I guess, that I'm gonna have in all my scrapbooks because I really do like to use this technique. And I'm going to fussy cut the waves out because I think that will just give it a bit of more something dimensional and it doesn't look so flat. And the rest of the video, the quality is going to drop because my phone died and I wanted to finish this layout and I didn't want to wait for it to charge up. So I'm using my normal digital camera and yeah, but it focuses and finally gets to work. Anyways, okay, there's a little gap there between the waves and the tags, so I need to fill it up, and I decided to bring in that pattern that's on that square over there that has like a palm tree pattern, and bring that under there, and I like that very much, how there's a little bit of that on this side of the same thing. Going to tape that down, and I bring my X-Acto knife, my tiny X-Acto knife that you can't find anymore, and I'm so sad for you guys because I actually love this tool. I use it all the time, and I'm just going to chop those things off. Chop the waves off, and it actually I really like that shelf. So simple, so easy, but there's like a lot going on that it makes it look like you spent a lot of time on this layout, but you did it. And that's why I really like this technique a lot. And okay, so what's going on here? Yes, I'm gonna use dream, but the words I've mentioned before, they're so thin in some areas that they started to cut apart, and it took me forever to get them back. I actually edited out a lot of it, but it works. Spread in my Sharpie because the glitter, some of it was coming off, and you would have never known though. The last heart! I have finished something in the kit. There was only 3 hearts in the kit, but hey, it's still used up. It's not in my stash anymore. It has been used beautifully in my scrapbooks. And I like it right there in that corner, but there's quite a lot of glitter going on, just one spot. So I bring in this teardrop shaped, which we can call a pin, I guess. Those pins that you would see on Google Maps to mark a location. And so that brings in that bit of glitter. And then I went into my chipboard to bring in some more dimension because everything's real flat right now. So that little lazy days and then this little arrow here that I fiddle so much with. It's like, geez, Lori, enough. And now for the clear stickers. Even though I would have stopped by now, but because I made a kit, I am determined to use things in this kit. That's the great thing about me making these kits, is that I will force myself to use these things. But it's not really forcing because it's all pretty stuff, huh? I decided to cut this, and I lightly placed those 2 arrows there, not permanently making that their spot. And I put that arrow there, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna make this into three points. And so I put one triangle looking to the picture, the one in the middle looking to the picture, and the one on the bottom looking up towards all the, I guess, the embellishing. Bring in some homemade enamel dots. This is the awesome thing about homemade enamel dots, is that you can do colors that you would normally find at the stores, like at Hobby Lobby and Michael's. You can't see it, but it's like a yellow orange, and that goes really well. And I think I am done. That is all, and it's pretty. I love it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned some new techniques, and I hope you tried them. See you in my next one. Bye!